guys, thanks for joining. We're just continuing our chat with HR business partner, Mrs. Lupna. So we're just waiting for her to come back on the line. If you did tune into part 1 and you have any questions, please send them through. Okay. Let's just wait for her. Ah, there we go. There she is. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, we're back. Yeah, so just to continue where we left off, where we are talking bullies in the workplace. I think, if as an employer, the person I would maybe most likely go to is an HR professional to kind of maybe get guidance or learn about different actions that can be taken. If this is happening to an HR professional, who do they go to?
Yeah, so also always when as like part of the like sort of grievance process within HR, right? So is we always tell you that if you're having some sort of issue, your first point of call is your line manager, right? So whoever that line manager is. But if the issue is the line manager, if that's the person that you have an issue with, then you go to the line manager's line manager as well. And so you could actually go to somebody, because the HR department is quite big as well. So, well, where I am in, so it would be just sort of not, if the issue was with the line manager, then I would go to somebody else that is within HR. Usually also in a bigger organization, you will go to the HR manager as well if you have some sort of issue or grievance or some sort of assistance that you're looking for. So, I mean, there are people that you can go to. Like, you can always sort of go higher up as well.
Okay, great.
And I'm sure that they're able to assist you.
Okay, great. We have a comment. Thank you so much for asking the last question before part 1 ended, because that's exactly what I experienced during my most recent interview, which did not go so well.
Okay, shame, and I hope that it goes better next time. And like I said, like it is about, I see some very talented, smart people that just sort of all they need is a little bit of confidence, and to really understand like what they are bringing to the table as well. Yeah, and to not undersell yourself. Like that is, the interview process is there for you to display your achievements as well. Obviously not to brag. There are sort of tactful ways of doing so, but it's not really the time to be humble.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a time to kind of market yourself and your personal brand.
Exactly. Exactly that. Yes.
All right, as we are coming to the end of the interview, so please comment any questions that you have, any comments you have, we'd love to hear from you. So we haven't really spoken about challenges within your profession. What would you say are some of the challenges?
So challenges, let me think about that. I mean, there are like, I think some of the challenges is like, because we are privy to so much information, what can be challenging is also, just managing all of that confidential information and knowing at what point, like what you can say, and also just sort of being able to be like support for employees as well. I think also when employees come with a grievance or like an issue that they're having as well, to be able to be impartial and to not be judgmental about it. I think it takes like, and to be empathetic. I think it can be a challenge because it's not easy to do so, especially if, say, for example, somebody comes in with, you know, an issue that they're having with their manager. So you have a good relationship with this employee and you have a good relationship with the manager. So how can you sort of, you still need to be fair and impartial and, you know, to assist them, which can be quite challenging as well. I think also as you go higher up within any field, I don't only think that it's in human resources. I think a challenge is also just, like I say, things are not clear cut, things are not black and white. They aren't always like, when you're solving problems, the answers aren't always like clear, and still trying to how to navigate in an environment where and solve problems where, you know, there aren't clear cut answers. So that can be quite challenging as well. You know, those are the two biggest challenges that sort of pop up right now as well. And I think the other challenge as well is also just, you know, just like I say, people really understanding that, you know, what HR is really about. Like, if you have a good HR department in your company, you know, they can really be a source of sort of, you know, assistance for you. And just I think a challenge that I have in the profession itself is, you know, people like sort of taking us seriously and knowing that we do actually add value to the business. It's very easy to say like, okay, what does HR do? Because we're not salespeople, we're not revenue generators, we manage people.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to put a monetary value on people and managing people. So I think that that's sort of a very, like, that's a bigger challenge, you know, sort of legitimizing your profession and all the value that you add to the company when it's not always quantifiable as well.
Okay, great. Yeah. And if students wanted to get a hold of you, could they? And they reach out?
Oh, definitely. I'll always happy to chat if you want to know, especially if you want to know a little more about HR as well, if you're thinking of going into the field. I have a website as well. It's lupna.com. So you can, you know, contact me via the website. I also am on Instagram. I'm quite active on Instagram as well. And that's Lupna_HR. On Facebook, it's the same handle as well. So you're welcome to contact me and message me as well. I'll definitely be happy to chat.
Perfect. Thanks so much for availing yourself as well. And taking the time to chat to us. It was lovely having you. I've learned so much about HR. I'm so happy to hear that as well. I really am. Yeah, definitely.
I'm happy. I hope I gave people guidance as well, because it's the type of guidance that I wish I had had when I had started out as well. And I think that that's also one of the reasons why I started my side passion as well, which is assisting people, you know, with their CVs and stuff, because that was what I needed when I was a student, you know, when I was unemployed for a very long period of time as well.
Yeah.
And now I'm able to identify what people need, and I'm able to also give them what, you know, help them in the way that I wish I was helped when I was in their position.
Yeah, that's so nice. It's nice to have people like you who are giving back and uplifting the youth of today, especially with our unemployment rate. Maybe you could just
Exactly.
I was just thinking, you know, in terms of lockdown and the pandemic that's currently happening globally, what is your advice to students who are maybe wondering about the recruitment process, wondering about will there be grad programs, will there be opportunities for them during this time?
I think that's a good question, and I'm finding it a lot also with the people that have approached me, and that's not only students but like working professionals as well. I think that advice that I would give is, do not give up. Don't take this pandemic personally. The job market is very tough right now. A lot of companies are sort of, you know, laying off staff. Some companies are freezing recruitment. Other companies are actually closing down. And so my advice would be to really acknowledge that you living through a historic event, that that things are not always in your control. I don't want to lie to people and say, oh no, you know what, it's, you'll get a job now, it will be fine. Honestly, it's a very tough market to be in. I mean, pre-COVID as well, it is tough. It's a very competitive market, but now even during the pandemic, it's worse so because there are fewer jobs. So my advice would be to not allow it to get you down, to not let it demotivate you as well. I mean, I was unemployed for a couple of months before my first job and before my second or third job or whatever. So for a couple of months before I actually found something, and that was pre-COVID. And it's very easy to become demotivated, but to also not lose your, like, don't lose, your confidence. Don't take it personally. And also what I would advise is to keep yourself busy with learning new things. Like with the internet, learning is at your disposal. There are lots of free courses you could do online in the interim. So don't just sit around and wait for a job to come to you. Do what you need to do. Apply to as many places. I've even, to be honest, when I started out, I actually started out in a different space to HR. I didn't start out in HR because I needed the experience. And so don't be afraid to maybe start something else, to sort of expand your scope for the types of jobs that you want to apply for. Like I took like a sort of scenic route, like a side route. It wasn't like I didn't go up like that because of the opportunities that are available, but you still can end up, there isn't only one path to getting where you need to be. So be open-minded in your job searches as well.
Yes, 100%. And like you said, still apply. Don't be discouraged in terms of the climate.
Yes.
But
yes,
there are still things being posted. We post about graduate programs that are still happening in a different way. And for me, I think it's almost like an adjustment period. Companies can
exactly,
and that's going to take some time. But in the meantime,
it will.
And also like you said, upskill yourself. What skills do you think are going to be necessary? Computer skills. I don't know, whatever you think is going to add value in your profession.
In my profession, so I think honestly, Excel skills will get you very far. And when I say not like advanced like programming skills, I mean that would be great if you want to do that. But like just sort of knowing like little like complicated formulae and stuff like that. So like intermediary Excel skills that will really get you far. I think also so and it honestly also depends on where you want to be, right? I think the type where you want to be would actually determine like what sort of skills you should get involved with. But Excel is always a big thing. Like it will help you wherever you go, and especially if you want to go further up, higher up you go in terms of reporting and all of those kinds of things. It really does help with that as well.
Perfect. So we have a couple of comments. Great advice. And yes, not everything will go according to your plan. You need to adjust as you go along. Very true. Very true. Sometimes
that is true.
We need to be a bit flexible. Like you said, there's not
exactly
that leads to your final destination.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone planned for COVID, to be honest. No one planned for COVID.
Yeah.
So we all needed to adjust whatever we were doing. Everyone had to adjust to this pandemic. So things don't always go according to plan, but that's also okay. Like when I started out, I planned to become a CA. That didn't go according to plan either. But that's fine. I have a different plan now.
Exactly. Any thoughts from your side before we end our session?
No, I like I said, going through my rocky journey in my career journey, I honestly do think that this is a very useful platform And I really hope that, the students really understand the value of it. I think I only really got to understand like the value of like having these platforms like that, also understanding what people do in their jobs. Once I got into the working world, and once I was asking questions like, where do I fit in and what do I want to do? And I think like having these sessions like these where you're learning about different professions, the best people to speak to are people in the industry.
Yeah.
Because they know what's happening. Because a lot of what I've now learned at university, it was great at the time, but now it's sort of outdated. It's different. We have different ways of doing things now as well. So if you really want to understand something, I think it's just to speak to people that are in the industry. And it's great that that UJ is actually providing a platform for people to actually get to really understand what the world of work looks like and what opportunities there are out there for students.
100%. Yeah, because career stories are so important, and they're so
Yes.
you never know who's going to be inspired by your career journey, who's going to learn from
Exactly.
Yeah. So
and I also find like the one thing that I do find is that when I have spoken to people that I have attended talks where there are people that have been successful, but you actually don't always hear about the people that struggle. And I think it's important to actually also speak about that as well, so that people know that it doesn't mean that things are going to be smooth sailing. And if they are, then you are lucky, but it's not necessarily the case that is the norm. So it's important to know that there are people out there that did struggle, but that it's still okay, because you can still end up somewhere if you're willing to struggle.
Exactly. Such an important message. So
cool.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
As said, availing yourself. Thank you also for the work that you're doing for the youth of the country, from the little ones to our students. It's great work. So thank you for that, and hopefully we'll get to chat to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed our discussion today.
Me too.
And I hope it helped everyone.
I'm sure it did. And thank you, students, for your questions, for your comments. We appreciate it. And
yes.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Thanks for having me, everyone. And thanks for listening.
Take care, Lupna.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Bye.